Alright, so here we have the Necromancer tank. Just going to go over the build setup. Oh, perfect timing. We'll use this well later. So I'll just get right into it. I'm going with the 5-piece Swift set, Buffer of the Swift. So max magic, physical resistance, spell resistance, reduced damage taken from players by 10%. So we're doing Sword and Board and Resto of that set, along with the jewelry. I run a immobilizing and unstoppable poisons on both bars. Helps out a lot. So we got a defending Resto staff. I also run 2-piece Night Flame. And then a 5-piece reactive. So stam recovery, max health, and then reduce damage when you're affected by a disabling effect by 35%. And then for my Swift jewelry, I find for all the tanks I've made, I find putting a flame resistant, poison resistant, and shock resistant enchant on your jewelry is the best way to go. It helps out quite a bit. So those are the sets. We got Reactive, Swift, and Bogdan. Now for the skills. The first one is Intensive Mender, which is this little guy here. Now you have options with this ability. So this one lasts 8 seconds but triples the healing that you get. Now the other morph lasts 16 seconds. You get less healing, but it also takes 10%. I just tested yesterday, and the Swift set, it reduced damage taken from players by 10%, and it stacks with that Mender. So just from the Mender in your Swift set, it's 20% reduced damage, which is nice, but I like the extra healing, so I went with this morph instead. Because you'll see later in this video that you still have a ton of reduced damage on this build. So we have that heal, and then you have Deaden Pain. So once your Mender dies, you'll be able to use Deaden Pain and get 30% reduced damage. So it lasts 2 seconds. The more corpses there are, it'll last longer, up to 12 seconds. Also, while slotted, your damage taken is reduced by 3% as well, which is very nice. And then we have Heroic Slash. So that reduces damage taken by another 15% for 12 seconds. Also, you gain Minor Heroism, which will come in handy. And then we got Hungry Scythe, which is a great heal, really great heal. And the more players you're fighting, the bigger the heal you'll get. I've managed to get a 40k crit heal in PvE with this ability, and that's before major mending. So it's very, very useful, and it does a slight bit of damage. So now this ability here, this is your flex slot. So you can either run Absorb Magic, which is very nice, gives you a nice shield, and then heals you for a good chunk. Or you can swap that out with Spiked Bone Shield. If you're say you're dueling, you want to duel a magic character, then you would run Absorb Magic, which is very useful. But if you're dueling a stamina tune, then Bone Shield, you replace it with Bone Shield, and then that'll help you out big time. And then of course the ulti we have on this bar is Ravenous Goliath. So it gives you 30k health for 20 seconds, and then restoring 30k immediately. So it dishes out an AoE, and then it heals you for that amount of damage that you're doing. So, and then it heals you at the same time. So the more players you're fighting, the more heals that are coming in. So then we go to our back bar. We have Beckoning Armor for our resistance buff. It's also very nice too, because when you hit it, and you have ranged enemies hitting you, it'll pull them in towards you and bring them nice and close. And you can slap them with your minor heroism, with your heroic slash. So buffed up, that brings us to 30, just under 36k spell resistance and 34k physical resistance, which is pretty good. Okay, and then we got mutagen. This is more or less to keep a hot on you, to keep Bogdan proccing. Also too, if you fall below 20% health, it gives you that nice little health buff, and then removes a harmful effect. So this is more or less just to keep your Bogdan procced. Always keep this up. And then we have expunge and modify, because, you know, having a cleanse is really nice. Also reduce the cost of your abilities by 3%, so it's nice to have a cleanse. Then we got Mortal Coil. So this one's pretty cool too. So pretty much you have your Mender up healing you for the 8 seconds. And then how I work this is once he dies, then I hit the coil. And then now you got that active, and you spawn another Mender. So then you end up getting 2 hots active during that time. And then you also restore just under 3k stamina over the 12 seconds. Plus it increases your healing done by 3%, which comes in handy. And this character is a vampire, because Invigorating Drain is very nice to have. Once it's leveled up all the way to level 5, you end up generating 5 ultimate every second for 3 seconds. Also, if you have a lot of pressure, if you're getting a lot of pressure put on you, just hit that player with that stun, and it gives you a second to breathe. Works very efficiently when you're low health. You get really nice heals off that. But more slash active and your Invigorating Drain. You want to try and get in your Colossus form as quick as possible, in your Goliath form. Food, I run Longfin Pasty. Just tri-stat food. It's very useful. Potions is tri-stat pots. But mainly when I'm fighting, I run these Essence of Health, which restores health immediately, and then gives you lingering health, which gives you 1,000 health every second for 41 seconds. These come in handy big time. This also keeps your Bogdan procced. And then if need be, you gotta move ability pots. But with these poisons, they're very useful. They help with that big time. Right now, the Mundus is the Lord. Now you can switch that out for the resistance. If you wanted a bit more resistances, you can swap it out with that buff. You'd probably be around like 38k resistances, 38 and 37k resistances, which is nice in case you get hit with major breach. The recoveries aren't the best, but I mean, I do a lot of heavy attacking while I fight, so I have no issues keeping up with my resources. So you have 20k of each pool, which is pretty easy to maintain. So again, yeah, your Mundus Stone can be swapped out with increased healing done or resistance buff, whichever you prefer. That's pretty much optional. Like, you can put whatever you want. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I got for pretty much unkillable. Like in duels, it's very, very hard to kill this build, like super hard. And you can pretty much take on quite a few people at once. It's pretty nice. Now I have one more setup to show you guys, just to show you how much health you can potentially get on this build, on this Necro build. So again, if I was Imperial, I'm a Nord, so if I was Imperial, I'd have an extra 1,000 health. Undaunted is only level 4, so I am missing out on the extra 2%. I wear 7 heavy, so I'll get an extra 2% to max health. But what you can do for now, to see how much health you can get with Plague Doctors, you can do a 1-piece max health Head and Shoulder, and a 5-piece Warrior Poet. And that gives you a pretty good chunk of health. Okay, so right now we're sitting at so right now we got 78k health. We can hit this allied well here, which will bring you up to 83.1k. Now, this build is liable. Like, you can use this setup right now how it is with the tri-stat food and still manage your resources pretty well. But if you wanted to just get a little bit more health, then you can use the Lilmoth Garlic Hagfish. So that'll boost you up quite a bit. That gets us up to 86.6k health. And then going into your Goliath form, that now brings us up to 135.2k health. Which is insane. Nobody wants to fight somebody with 135k health. And this is also without the without EMP buffs, without my 2 passives in Undaunted, and without being an Imperial. So I'm sure you can easily get to about 140, 142, maybe a little bit more health. 145k health with EMP buffs, which is absurd. So, yeah, that's all I got for now on the Necromancer Nord tank. So, feel free to try the build out. It's very fun, very sustainable, very hard to kill. So, I hope you enjoyed. And that's all for now. Thank you.